were you chasing when you were chasing the?
I want to be someone who's calm and relaxed. I want to be someone who's confident. And most of all, I want to be somebody who is free.
Do you think journaling is the first step?
Different people work in different ways. I don't have a regular journaling habit. I journal as and when I feel like I need to.
Whilst you're working there, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Love yourself, because you can only love other people as much as you love yourself, and you can only expect other people to love you as much as you love yourself.
Welcome, I'm Tracy Irwin. I'm passionate about financial independence and wanted to share stories of inspiring entrepreneurs to prove it's possible for everyone to strive towards financial freedom. Today, I'm talking to Dan Glyde, who's a world-class peak performance and rapid results coach. He's a former BBC sports broadcast professional and the founder of the Power Shift Method, which is a proven framework with a 100% success rate. He specialises in helping men to achieve self-mastery, resilience, and sustainable peak performance through tailored coaching and his monthly Positive Masculinity Mastermind. So thank you, Dan. Welcome as well. Thank you for speaking.
Thank you. Well, thanks for inviting me on, and thanks for such a lovely introduction.
So I spoke to you before and I asked you to come on this podcast because you were so inspiring for me, because your aim for freedom is much different to a lot of people's. So I want to share that story so people can see how it doesn't always aspire to always just come from wealth. So would you like to tell people like a little bit about your story and where you came from, please?
Sure, yeah. So as you mentioned there, I used to work in broadcasting. So journalism was always my passion. So I'm a curious character, Tracy. I always have been. I've always asked questions. I've always wanted to know why. I used to get told to shut up all the time as a child because I was probably infuriating.
Yes.
So eventually around in my late 20s got around to making that a career instead of just a hobby. And went to work for the BBC. I started off in news and current affairs and then moved over into sport because I've always had a passion and an enjoyment of sport, playing sport and watching sport. And like most people at BBC Sport, I'm kind of a failed sportsman myself. I've got one of those tales like every man has about how I could have made it, but I won't bore you with that. And so, of course, it was an amazing job. What a job, Tracy. I was getting paid to watch sport. I was getting to work with people like Ian Wright and Alan Shearer and all sorts of amazingly, wonderfully talented people. And as you can imagine, it's long hours, it's unsociable hours because sports were evening and weekends. And my mindset was terrible. I had zero boundaries. I said yes to everything. I became a people pleaser because I thought that was the best way to get ahead in my career. And it completely ruined my health. So I was always the one who would stay late. I was always the one who'd do the shift on Saturday. Nobody wanted to do. I would work weeks on end without a day's off sometimes, especially during big events, which is because Levy's banned during big events at the BBC.
Yes, I can imagine.
And so, I ran myself into the floor and burnt out. Eventually, I got to a stage, it was the start of 2018. I'd been physically unwell for about 6 months.
Okay, that's a long time.
I was overweight despite being very active and somebody who has a keen interest in nutrition. So I've always eaten well. But I was overweight. I had bad skin. I had bad digestion. And you name it. You and I were having a chat just before we came on about how you picked up a cold because you've been with your grandkids.
Yes.
You name it, I picked it up. I had flu, I had colds, I had stomach, but you name it, for 6 months. And I got to the point at the start of January. I remember sat in the gallery talking to my production manager and saying, I've never known anything like this. And it still hadn't dawned on me, actually, that it was my mental health that was suffering. I hadn't made the connection. And sort of a few months after that, I got to the point where I just had nothing left to give. I'm mentally, emotionally, physically just exhausted. I don't think I ever quite broke down because I'm a fairly resilient character, but I think I had a big panic attack sat on my doorstep one day, and that I thought I was going to die. My heart was leap out of my chest. I couldn't breathe. And it was, funnily enough, what brought me round was, I thought, right, a couple of deep breaths. I need to ring an ambulance because I do not want my wife to find me dead on the doorstep in the morning. So I thought, right, compose myself, a couple of deep breaths. And then I went, oh, I'm all right. I'm not having a heart attack. So at which point go off and Google what the hell's just happened to me. Anxiety attack. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what it is that I'm going through. Anxiety. And it was probably about 5 years. I had chronic anxiety. And I did the man thing, right? Obey the man code. Ignore it,
I
escape
was
it,
just about to say,
avoid
you
it.
buried your head, didn't you?
Yeah, I did repress it, bury it. Keep going, keep going. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody you're struggling because that's weakness. Can't do that. Yeah. So eventually that panic attack pulled me up, and then I realised I'd had mental health problems, and it had completely ruined me. And then so ever since then, I've been rebuilding myself and rebuilding my life and recalibrating what really matters to me. And I realised that career wasn't, despite how amazing it wasn't really the path I wanted to walk. I think I went into the BBC thinking I can directly impact lives.
Okay.
And you can't really. I mean, if you work at the regional radio stations, and I have done a bit of work there, you get a real connection to your
The
audience there. But
community.
as the national broadcast, you don't get that connection. And also, when I worked for BBC News, I went in there with a kind of utopian vision and a bit naive, thinking I'm going to hold the powerful to account and tell the truth. And you work, literally within weeks of being there, I thought, no, I can't do that. Not the way I wanted to do that. But I kept going. I thought sunk cost fallacy. I thought I'm in now. It's taken me ages to get in here, and nearly 20 years I carried on going.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I realised that it wasn't my future. I remember sending an email to my wife. She was gobsmacked, saying, "Right, I'm leaving." And the funny thing was, once I stopped caring about the career, I stopped striving, I stopped pushing, I stopped chasing. My career took off.
Chasing, Dan. What were you chasing whilst you were chasing the?
Promotion,
Okay.
more responsibility, more opportunity. I wanted to direct programs on national television. I wanted to direct live sport. That was always my ambition. Match of the day, direct match of the day. That was where I
Okay.
wanted to
Okay.
get
Yeah.
to, right. And I was always just missing out. Oh, Dan, you were so close. Next time, mate. Next time. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. And then when I stopped caring, and because I knew it wasn't my future, so I then started valuing myself. I drew really strong boundaries. I would say no. I was protecting my time off. I was protecting my energy, my relationships, my well-being. My career took off. I got promoted twice. I got opportunities just would drop in my lap. People would walk up to me and say, "Oh, Dan, are you free to direct the FA Cup on Saturday?" And I'd style it out, Tracy. I'd be like, "Oh, let me just check." While inside, I'm going, "Let me just have a look." Oh, yeah, it just so happens that I am available on Saturday.
Be free.
That taught me a really big lesson, Tracy. It made me realise I'd been doing life all wrong.
Okay.
It made me realise that I'd become a human doing and a human having and a human thinking, when really I'm a human being.
Yes.
And once I started valuing myself and dedicating time and attention to my being and who I wanted to be, then life started to just fall into place. Opportunities just came my way without the striving and the pushing and the, convincing and all that stuff. And yeah, so I realized actually I've been doing life all wrong. So ever since I kind of had that realization, I thought, right, now who do I want to be? So I want to be someone who's calm and relaxed. I want to be someone who's confident. And most of all, I want to be somebody who is free from society's rules about who I ought to be, free from the culture's idea of what a man ought to look like, free from all the shoulds, have tos, musts, ought tos that dominated my life for so many years. I wanted to be sustainable. I wanted to be self-sufficient. So I moved my whole life up to the Scottish borders. I now live in the middle of nowhere. I have 12 acres of land. We're on a journey to sustainability and self-sufficiency. The only thing we get from the grid is electricity. So once I get solar panel storage batteries, hopefully I can totally come off grid. I grow a lot of my own fruit and veg. And the pace of my life is unrecognizable compared to what it used to be. Now, don't get me wrong, my life is scheduled to within an inch, Tracy. That's how I live, right? I live by my schedule. But that gives me enormous freedom and enormous flexibility because it means I'm not stuck up here all the time going, right, what am I doing tomorrow? Oh, when I've got to be there. Who am I doing that? It's already scheduled. It's already done. And I schedule in my life first and
Yeah.
my work second.
Awesome. I love that.
So it's me, that's my well-being that's important because I'm a peak performance coach, as you said at the start, and I know well-being is peak performance.
It
And
is.
actually, in order to prioritize your well-being like I do now, you have to heal first. So that's what I've been doing for the last 7 or 8 years is healing all my psychological wounds, letting go of a lot of stuck and suppressed emotion because again, as a boy, I was taught your emotions and feelings are no good to you, mate. That's fluffy thinking. So I blocked them all out, including the good stuff, right? This is why I was
Okay.
anxious and depressed for 5 to 10 years because I didn't feel joy. Tracy, I built walls to make sure I didn't feel the things I didn't want. So the things I did want were blocked out too. But now I have the freedom to be me. And I run a business. I mean, I run two businesses, in fact, where I'm helping other people do exactly the same thing.
That is amazing. And that's why you are so inspiring. The whole off the grid thing.
Thank you.
What's really interesting for me is when you just said about when men are taught to like not feel their emotions, that the fact that the good disappears because the bad's not there. Like how does that work when somebody wants to take that step into like not feeling like the masculinity takes over, that they actually want to feel everything? Because that I think that's the point, isn't it? When if we don't have the highs, then oh sorry, if we don't have the lows, we can't get the highs. There's
Yeah,
no
of course.
there's
We,
no
we live in
balance
a,
there at all because everything's just the same. But
yeah.
like as a man, like I'm really emotional, by the way. You'd know when I'm happy and you know when I'm sad. Like literally, I'm an emotional person. But so when you said that, that's quite strange for me to listen to because
Yeah.
I've not really thought of it before.
Yeah, so we wear masks, Tracy. That's what we do. We wear masks. We pretend. We hide behind bravado. We hide behind I'm fine. And we confuse what we think stoicism is. So we think stoicism is don't feel, bury it, repress it. Stoicism is feeling everything deeply but observing it and not reacting to it. That's stoicism. Stoicism isn't trying to outrun your feelings and your emotions. It's feeling them all deeply and letting them move through you. So emotion, you think the word emotion is
Yeah.
energy in motion. So emotion should flow through you. So the first thing I had to learn to do, Tracy, was first be able to describe how I feel because I did not have the language for it. I couldn't tell you how I felt. I could tell you what I thought about how I felt, but I couldn't
Okay.
tell you how I felt. I didn't have the words. So I had to learn that. I had to learn to accept my feelings and I had to realize they had something to tell me. They had a message for me. So the reason I burnt out is because I was ignoring the messages that my body and my psyche was trying to send me via my feelings and my emotions. So no wonder you eventually just hit a brick wall. So that's what I had to do. And I'm still a work in progress, Tracy. Still a work in progress. I still have a habit of telling myself I shouldn't be feeling this way and trying to push things away. And when it comes to emotion and energy, what you resist persists. So it'll keep knocking on your door until you answer. And now I know if I start getting that sense of dread in my solar plexus, that anxiety, I know I've been ignoring something. I've been trying to outrun something. So now I use tools and techniques like meditation and mindfulness and journaling to observe myself, to be, I told you I'm super curious, right? So I decided when rebuilding myself, I'm gonna get really fascinated about me. What drives me? What do I really care about? Why do I really care about it? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I triggered by that? And so that's what I had to do. Learn how to describe my emotions, learn how to describe my feelings, and just and allow it all, and feel it all deeply, because none of it's going to kill us.
Do you feel that for people who struggle with this and to find if they can like the first signs of burnout, do you think journaling is the first step? Do you think that's the way that because I think helping writing it out really helps, doesn't it, to
It does.
articulate it? Like you said, you don't you need to find the words.
Mm. Well, it depends, Tracy, right? Different people work in different ways. Now, I don't have a regular journaling habit. I journal as
Okay.
and when I feel like I need to. I'm a contemplator. So actually, I like to spend a bit of quiet time with myself, and lots of men are like this, just to let some things turn over in my head, to contemplate. And now what I do, I practice being the observer, because that's what we are, right? We are consciousness aware of itself. We are not our thoughts and feelings. We are the witness of them.
Yeah.
So I practice every day witnessing myself, witnessing what I feel, witnessing what I think. And journaling is a very good way to do that for somebody who's first coming at this.
Yeah.
And another thing I do is 2 or 3 times a day, I ask myself, how do I feel? I get into I practice mindfulness whenever I remember, whenever I think, oh, I'm stuck up in my head. I say to myself, right, what can I see right now? What can I hear? What can I smell? What can I taste? What's going on? And most importantly, how do I feel? And I sit with it. And it's not always a way of feeling I want. Sometimes I'm annoyed. Sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes I'm a bit stressed. Sometimes I can be a bit overwhelmed. Sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes I feel guilt. I feel shame. That it's in my upbringing and in my wiring. You know, I was brought up as a Roman Catholic. I am basically a guilt and shame Olympics. So, and I've dealt with a lot of that, and I've processed a lot of that, and I've used forgiveness. I've had to forgive myself an awful lot, Tracy. I've really explored.
Are you working harder than ever, but feeling like you're getting nowhere? You're not alone. Most business owners I speak to feel trapped in their own success, working 60 hours plus a week, missing family time, and honestly, they're not even sure why they feel so stuck. They just know something needs to change. If this sounds familiar, I've created a quick quiz to help you find out why you feel stuck in your business. It takes only 2 minutes, and I give you clarity on exactly what's keeping you trapped, and more importantly, how to break free. The link's in the description, so why not take it now?
My past, the things I've said and done and confronted the person I didn't like and didn't want to be, my shadow self, if you like, I think some people call it.
Yeah.
And I've had to use a lot of forgiveness. And yeah, whatever helps you hold the mirror up to yourself. And journaling is a good way to do that. Getting somebody else, my person, and I would say this, wouldn't I, Tracy? But my personal development turbocharged when I got a coach.
He's a coach. Me too, by the way. So, like, I know we all say it as coaches, we understand, it
Yeah.
sounds like we're just trying to sell ourselves, but it really isn't. We're not
No,
trying
but
to
it
sell
was,
ourselves.
it
We're
was
just trying to
having
tell
somebody to
people that having a
challenge.
coach
Yeah.
is that fast track to getting where you want to be.
Yeah, having somebody to challenge my thoughts and my behaviors and my autopilot and my habits and my routines and to ask me those powerful questions about how does that serve you, Dan? And you sit there and you think, well, it doesn't. Well, why do you do it then? Okay, and there's the thread, right? And when you investigate that, you'll find there's some disempowering or limiting view, opinion, and belief floating around in your psyche, something you've taken on probably when you were a kid, from figures of authority, from your parents, from your upbringing, or like my religion, if you were brought up in a religious house like I was. And then the more you start investigating that stuff, and particularly if you can get help, because it's really difficult to do alone, because your mind has an agenda and it wants to protect you from the stuff it thinks you don't like, so it won't let you look at it. So it will make you distract and avoid, and denial is very powerful. But yeah, so when you've got someone to help you do that, it's fascinating because you go, oh, wow, I've got these two things I believe that my mind thinks is fact, and they're completely contradictory. No wonder I keep feeling stuck and like I can't make progress. And we've all said this thing, haven't we, Tracy? I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it.
We
And the
do
just
all
not
the
doing
time.
it is because we're sabotaging ourselves, because our conscious mind is trying to keep us safe, and it is following what the unconscious is telling it to do. 97% of what we do is driven by the unconscious mind.
It is.
3%, our conscious mind has a tiny bandwidth. Nobody ever told me that, right? I didn't know that. And
I've
it
only
blew my
learned
mind
that
when I
recently
found it out.
too, to be fair. It's kind of like so this weekend just gone, I went on a course and we talked about like emotions and money. I was going on a course and I went on this course because I thought I would pick up tools and strategies to help my clients. Dan, I learned so much about myself at this weekend. I was like, this isn't what I came for, but it was and it was, we talked about emotions and money and your past, your parents, your religion, everything, and it was like it was so good in the way that it was done, to understand that your subconscious, like literally, is literally all the past things that other people have told you and your beliefs and stuff that actually, like you said, we don't really believe, but that's what our subconscious is telling us. So we get stuck because we just get paralyzed and we don't move forward.
Yeah, so views, opinions, and beliefs are all just thoughts we've never questioned, Tracy, right? And most of it we probably took on in our childhood where we didn't have the ability to discern. We didn't know, we didn't have the life experience. So all these things go in. And what often happens is we get a bit traumatized as kids. I'm not talking necessarily about neglect and abuse, but obviously that's this times a thousand. But we get conflicted and confused because we're following our inner guidance that says this is the right thing to do, and we get told off for it and told that's not right, and we're naughty and we're bad.
Yeah.
That goes in as a belief. We walk away, we create meaning around that and go, well, I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. And money, actually, Tracy, is one of the major things we have all sorts of funny beliefs around. It's something I've had to work really hard on, because I had a belief that money was the root of all evil. So I didn't want any.
Yeah,
So there I am, busy working hard, trying
that's
to earn
such
a
a common
crust
one, isn't it?
and just sabotaging myself because in my unconscious is this belief that I don't want money. And it still irks me it still affects me today, Tracy. It's the one thing I have to really focus on and concentrate on is my mindset around money. And it's all to do with deserving and self-worth as well. I've had terrible self-worth issues in my life, and deserving, because in the house I grew up in, I was taught you have to work double hard to earn everything. So it's about doing first. It's all in the doing. Go out and do. So you can have this and then you get to be this person. And what I've realized in the last few years is it's the opposite.
It is totally opposite.
It's about who you are being first. It's be first. And when you are being that person, then you get to do the things that person does. Then you get to have the things that person has. And now I'm in that flow now in my life, and it's still a bit up and down. I still have some disempowering limits and things that come to the surface occasionally, and I regularly get coaching that helps me with that as well. But yeah, I've realised that my life happens for me. It doesn't happen to me. I'm not a victim of it. I'm not a victim of events and circumstances. I'm the master of my own destiny. I am creating my own life, and via the unconscious mind. So your views, opinions, and beliefs, they form your perspective and your mindset. They are the lens through which you see yourself and you see the world. So if you don't like yourself and you don't like the world, change the flipping lens.
Exactly that. It's like this thought that, God's up there somewhere deciding who's deserving and who isn't deserving. It's like nobody put a rubber stamp on our head and said whether we deserve things or not. It's like it's what we see ourselves. And you're so right. It's about being that person first, and then things come to you. Like it's a form of manifestation in itself, and however much you believe in that, but actually being that person makes things come to you then, doesn't it? It's not the other way around.
So I love that there could be people out there that don't believe in manifestation. How do you think anything comes into the world?
No.
Everything
Do you
starts
know
as
how
a
many
thought.
times I get told, well, I don't believe in that
Yeah,
manifestation
I've had
stuff,
the
and I'm
conversation
like,
a million times. And
really?
what they mean is they don't believe in it the way it was presented in the book The Secret. That's what they don't
Yes,
believe.
yeah.
The Secret will have you believe you can meditate tonight and have a Ferrari on your drive in the morning. That's not manifestation. No, everything starts as a thought, doesn't it? Every building that you see, every road that you see, every vehicle that you see started in here. Somebody's had an idea. Then they manifested it into the world. So if you don't believe in manifestation, how the hell do you think we created everything in the world?
That's so true. So, when you were working for the BBC, like, was your anxiety ever about money, or did that not part of your vision?
Yeah, it probably was, Tracy. It probably was. I see. I don't know because I escaped and avoided it. So
Okay.
I never looked at it. I think really what it came down to was me not being in alignment with who I genuinely was. I was selling my soul to the devil. The fact I had no boundaries, and I was putting everything before myself and my health and my well-being, which is why I have self-worth problems, right? Because I didn't value me. So that I think that's really what was driving my anxiety. I could never pinpoint anything at the time. Oh, this is why I'm feeling like that. So I would just avoid it. What
Okay.
you name it, whatever I could lay my hands on to bring me short-term pleasure and make me feel good in the moment, I tried it, Tracy. And
Okay.
most of it not very healthy.
Yes.
Fortunately, these days I've found much healthier ways to get out of my head, and I'm not doing that to try and escape and avoid anything anymore.
No.
But yeah, definitely there would have been anxieties around money, Tracy. Absolutely, they would. Everybody in the BBC, apart from the talent, is underpaid. Everybody in the
Okay.
BBC works above their pay grade. Everybody in BBC Sport, unless they've got really solid boundaries, and some of my colleagues did, is in a toxic relationship with that department. We all work above it. Everybody, I say we, I'm still bloody brainwashed. Everybody in that place works above their pay grade and is severely underpaid for what they do and what they deliver. I've worked with some unbelievably talented people who, if they were in any other sort of creative industry, would be six-figure people earning millions.
Okay. So is it an
And
ego thing then? To be, because that's the title that comes with it.
definitely, yeah, absolutely it is. I used to love telling people that's what I did for a living. You imagine the
Yeah.
reaction I got from other men.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could go back in time and give yourself, whilst you're working there, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Value yourself. But well, first of all, be yourself.
Yeah.
Understand who that is. So actually, no, let's start. Let's go back. The positive masculinity, right, is my men's community.
Yeah.
It's what I call my coaching business and my online community. Now, for me, positive masculinity is know yourself, be yourself, love yourself. So if I could go back to former me, that's what I would say. I'd say know yourself, be yourself, love yourself. Because the more I acted out of alignment with who I am, the more I wasn't following my own values and principles and I was selling my soul, the further away from who I genuinely was I was getting. And I was playing lots of roles all the time. I had a role I played at home. I had a role I played with my friends. I had a role I played at work. I had so many masks and hats I wore, I forgot which one was me.
Okay.
So I would say to myself, slow down, know yourself, be yourself, and most importantly, Tracy, love yourself because you can only love other people as much as you love yourself, and you can only expect other people to love you as much as you love yourself.
That's really interesting. How do you help? How does the community help people to know themselves? What kind of process is that?
So it's basically because we help and support and we share and we are very real, raw, and honest. So we see ourselves in each other. When I first created the WhatsApp group, the thing that all the blokes would used to say to me is, "Oh my God, Dan, I thought it was just me. I thought it was just me." Because we struggle silently as men, we don't realize that everybody's going through something. Everybody's got something that's troubling them. You know, life is not always fun, is it? It's full of ups and downs and curveballs, and it's uncertain. We don't know what's coming. The only thing we can ever guarantee is change, and our minds don't like change, so we avoid it like the plague. And that's how we get to know ourselves better, by seeing ourselves in other people when they are sharing honestly and openly, right? And the other thing is, I coach them. So
Yeah.
I help occasionally. They'll say something, and I hold the mirror up.
Okay.
I do a lot of picking them up on their language, right? The word trying is banned in my community. We don't try, we do. But it's a word we all use.
We do.
And it's
I catch myself saying it sometimes, by the way, still now. Oh, I'll try to do that. And you're
me
like,
too, Tracy, me too. You
I
know, we're all a work in
know.
progress, right? Um, but yeah, so that word is banned because it's a get out of jail free card. Oh, I'm going to try and do that means I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do that is a very clear message to your mind and to the world. This is what I'm doing. And when you do that and you do it consistently, things open up for you. So that's how we get to know ourselves. And I run a mastermind as well, which has become an extension of that, a monthly mastermind. And we do an exercise in that every week to reveal some sort of limit.
Okay.
So we'll talk about some the things we're all going through, whether it's overthinking, whether that's making assumptions, whether that's procrastination. We deal with one subject every week. Then we do a little exercise, and part of that is it's a bit of coaching there. Is we reveal what's blocking us, what's
Yeah.
stopping us, and Then we get to share that with everybody in the group. And then it's a mastermind. So for the last bit of the call, they all just jump in and help each other because we're all in different parts of our path. There's no well-meaning advice is banned. So it's you can share your lived experience, you can share what worked for you, but you do not give people sympathy and well-meaning advice. That is banned from my community.
I love that. And all those things you mentioned, by the way, women suffer from those too.
Yes,
That's
of
not,
course, of course. No, these things aren't.
they're
This
not
is
singular, are they? They're just,
no.
it's
It
like
is not
being a human being.
exactly. These are human things, right? But they present themselves slightly differently in
They
men
do.
and women,
Yeah, they do.
and there is not enough out there for men when it comes to this stuff because we don't want to know, Tracy, do we?
So,
We don't want to know that there's men, a mental health and emotional health that we need to look after. That's no, I haven't got time for that. I've got 4 kids and a business to run and all those things. And I get these are human problems, but the difficulty is, women are much better. They have much better support networks. They're much better at talking about this stuff with each other and helping and supporting each. It comes naturally, much more naturally to women, and I think it's cultural as much as in our wiring, right? I think this is just the way we've been brought up. I'm an incredibly sensitive human. I pick up all sorts.
I can tell that.
I thought that made me weak as a boy. I was always told I'm too sensitive. Now I know it's my flipping superpower, right?
Yes.
I can walk into a room and read it like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think, and I get a lot of comments like that when in my marketing and my content, women are saying, it's not just men, Dan. I'm like, no, I do.
No, I know
I'm
you do. I
talking
just
to
like,
men.
yeah. It's just kind of like what I'm saying is I can not even empathize. I can realize that in myself. All the things you're saying, like these that happen to me
Yeah,
too.
because of course the belief system and all that's how we work as humans. That's not just a purely male or masculine thing.
So you talked about like as a child. So as a child, I got told I was too loud, I was too enthusiastic, I was too sensitive. Like
Yeah.
and like now as an adult, like I know that those things are who make me who I am, and I'm not too loud for the right people. I'm not too enthusiastic for the right people. My tribe actually think that that's my superpower.
Well, it is.
As children, or as parents of children, like how do we ensure that our kids grow up to actually what can we do because it's not our parents' fault that they told us stuff like that. They're
No, they
busy,
felt they
they're
were
under
doing the
stress
right thing.
themselves, all those things. Like what can parents do to make sure that actually when they're bringing up especially boys that they actually don't create that, like, this is a masculine environment and this is how you should act. Your business is successful, so why do you feel so miserable? Here's the thing, success doesn't always automatically equal freedom. I see profitable business owners every day who can't take a holiday, who can't switch off, and they feel completely overwhelmed by their own achievements. Sound familiar? Well, I've created a simple quiz that pinpoints exactly why you feel stuck in your business. It will give you the clarity you need to move from being trapped to being free. Why don't you take the quiz now? The link's in the description below.
Yeah. Well, for a kick-off, question all your rules. Every single one. Every rule you live by. Question it. Does that serve me? Does that serve my kids to live that way? And the key, right, I found in my later parenting, because I was a bit oblivious in my early years as a parent, and I just parented as I was parented. But I found, and my wife actually taught me this, separate person from behavior. If person does something you don't want, address the behavior, not the person, because that's how you create beliefs that I'm not good enough and there's something wrong with me. Because when I was a kid, you got told you are a naughty boy, not you have done something that we don't like. Yeah. You are a naughty boy. So of course, I walk away thinking, right, I'm a naughty boy. I don't want to be a naughty boy. And then after a bit, I thought, okay, am I? I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to play up to that.
Serving, isn't it?
That's what you want from me. You keep telling me I'm a naughty. You keep telling me I'm too much, too sensitive. All right, yeah. I'll harden up and I'll be naughty. Don't worry about that. And that's what I did. And so, yeah, that's what I mean. I'm no parenting expert, I've got to say. My son is my stepson. I
Yeah.
don't have any biological children of my own. So I don't want to put myself up there as giving out parenting advice. But that I would say is crucial. And be very aware of your language. Words are powerful.
Okay, so
Be very aware
very.
of how you talk to your children.
And so you have just become a grandparent, so congratulations. We
Thank
just talked
you.
about that before. And I've just had my grandchildren in the last week, and I found myself checking my language because we'd been out for the day and there was a fair, and it's only about 15 minutes away from where I stay. So we went to this fair, and Corey's 5, and she's like, "Can I do this? Can I do this?" Kind of like she wants everything.
Yeah.
And so I said, because we're going to go there, because it's like a craft thing, and it's going to be somewhere we visit quite often. But the fairground rides are particularly a bit too expensive for what you're getting, and I don't want to and I didn't want to say they're too expensive, or I didn't want to say I can't afford that, so that it would stop, because actually I know what damage that's doing whilst I'm saying
Creating
them.
limiting beliefs around money, aren't you? Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like learning all this stuff as well. And so like I said to them, you can go on one ride. Like that's it. You choose which one ride you want to go to. And every time we come, we'll go on one ride. And then eventually you'll be on them all. But she went, because she's inquisitive, why grandma? And I'm like, I need to learn this language properly. Like,
Because it's
what?
not a financial priority right now.
Yes. Well, it just, I just said we didn't have enough time.
There you go. Yeah, well, that works too, right?
But there was a part of me that wanted to say it's too expensive, or that's a rip-off, and I knew I eventually learned that those are the, because they're probably the things I said to my daughter, by the way, because at the age I was an 18-year-old parent, I would have so said those to her, exactly the same things that my mum said to me.
Yep.
But as a 50-year-old money coach, like that's not what you say. It
Yeah.
was like, so you'll find that when you like have your grandson, like the language that you use will be very, very different to what you used to your son.
Yeah, absolutely it will. Yeah, I'm very conscious now of the words that I use and what I say because I know, having explored my psyche to the nth degree, how people used to talk to me as a child became what I believed I was and what I believed the world was. That became the lens thing I was telling you about earlier. So yeah, you have to be really aware of that. And I would say to parents of boys need rules, boys need boundaries. Boys need simplicity and they thrive under simplicity. This boys will be boys is absolute rubbish, right? We don't say boys will be boys to boys because that makes them into entitled little so and so's.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, they're going to like rough and tumble. Yes, they're going to like whacking things with sticks because
Yeah.
that's what boys do. Yes, they're going to go and want to
So do
roll around in
girls.
the mud. Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Of
Yeah, it's
course.
not it's again, isn't it? It's not a singular thing. It's like they need to
Mm.
be who they are.
They are, and that's exactly what I was about to come to. I was getting like, not they're not all going to be like that, and that's okay because I was as a youngster, all I wanted to do, Tracy, was love everybody and everything as much as I can, and I wanted to perform. I love it when people are looking at me. This is why I make a great guest for you today
Yeah.
because I love being attention. Like some people shrink and don't like it and don't like public. I love it, Tracy. I love it. And I kept being told as a kid, you can't do that. That's not for you. I wanted to be a dancer, Tracy. I
Me
can move.
too,
I've
Matt
got
Dan.
feet.
Me too.
And but no, you can't be that as a boy. No, no, no. You've got to be competitive. You've got to play sport. You've got to want to fight. And then I went to an all boys school, whereas it was if I didn't learn to fight and stick up for myself, I'd get eaten alive. So
Yes.
it started from right back then, that separation from self, because I just wasn't allowed to be myself. And you're looking at this generation now, and they've swung like right the other way because they've gone, do you know what? Sod you. We are going to be whoever we want to be, and you can like it or lump it. And if you don't
Yeah.
like it, we're going to be super offended about that.
Yeah. They have gone totally the other way. And but it is about that. It's about understanding yourself as well, though. It's like, isn't
Mm.
it? Like you've said before about how to understand who you are. And I think some people just like they act out because they haven't been allowed to be that person.
You're not allowed to, are you? If I think back to my schooling and my religion, everything that the world was telling me from year dot, you cannot be yourself. We don't want you to be yourself. Stop being yourself. Yourself is not required here.
No, when I was 15 years old, so I was brought up in a religious household too, by the way. My mum is really religious and I respect her for that. Telling her at the age of 15 that I didn't believe I had to go to church every Sunday for God to know I believed in Him was harder than telling her at 18 I was pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same battle, Tracy. So I was actually really into my religion for a while.
I still am religious, by the way. I just don't believe I
Oh
have
yeah,
to
me
go to
too. I
church
mean,
every
I love the
Sunday.
teachings of Christ, and I do believe in God. Not
Yeah.
not the geezer with the beard who sits on the clouds judging us. And that's not God I believe.
He's
But
judging us.
and I did love the teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Paul, and it was the dogma and the rules and the rubbish on top
Yeah.
that I couldn't abide because none of it made sense to me, Tracy. None of it. And I would ask questions. I used to read the gospel at church as 14, 15 years old. Um, and I would ask the priest questions. He couldn't answer them. And
That's
so
really interesting.
once I left and went to university, because I started doing A levels, and then I learned to think critically. And I looked at the religion and just went, "What a crock of rubbish! Like this is unbelievable. All
Well,
this you must do this, you must do that." And I thought to myself, that cannot be right. There cannot be a God up there who wants the world to be that way. That just doesn't sit right with me. And sadly, at that point in my life, I threw the whole thing out. So my
right,
spirituality
okay.
went out the window too. And I think that's again was part of my problem and what eventually created my anxiety and all that, because I'd lost that
You lost the
connection to
spiritual.
my divine nature, to my spiritual
Yeah.
self, to my higher self, or to God or source or the universe, whatever you want to call it. I'd completely severed that because I threw the whole thing out. And then, as part of my rebuilding, that's when I stepped back into my spirituality. That's when I went back and looked at the
Yeah.
teachings of Jesus, and actually without all the dogma and the rubbish on top.
Yeah.
And it spoke to my soul. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, this is what it's all about. This is where I learned be, do, have, and all those things from ancient wisdom. So not only did I look back at my own religion and Christian mysticism and all that, but also Islam and Judaism and Hinduism and Sikhism and Buddhism. They've all got something to tell us, and they've all got a kind of running theme through them, which is that we are love and we are here to love. And that's the game. The
I
game is
love that.
grow and evolve to the point where you just are 100% love.
That is a really good message to end on, by the way. So I'm going to ask you two things. One, I want to ask you where people can find you, so that we will put them in the description as well, but just to let them know. And two, I want to ask you if there's anyone watching this who feels like they're stuck, they are that person that has masks on all the time.
Hmm.
Like, what one piece of information or advice can you give them to help them to move forward, please?
Okay, so I would say stop.
Hmm.
Just stop. Stop this. Stop the 100%. Stop the go, go, go. I must have, I should do, I ought to. Stop. Give yourself a bloody break. Take a day off. Shut the laptop. Turn your phone off. Get out into nature and find out who you really are. Start asking yourself some powerful questions. What do I really care about? What is my life all about for me? What ultimately is the legacy I want to leave behind? What sort of role model am I? And what am I passionate about? What lights me up? What do I really care about? What gives me that feeling where time stops, where I'm super present and in the moment. And that's the key. Presence. The
Present.
only time that exists is now. The past is gone. The future is yet to happen. We are creating it, and we are creating it now. So anything that's taking you away from the present moment, ditch it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and how can people get in touch with me?
Yes.
So LinkedIn is the best place to find me. That is where I do that. I'm posted on there all the time. I've got a newsletter on there. That's the best place to find me. I have a website, danglidecoach.co.uk. But yeah, I would say LinkedIn is the best place to find me and contact me and that sort of thing.
Thank you very much. I knew this would be a good conversation, but it's been an absolute pleasure. I have really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's
And we've
fun.
talked about a great deal. So thank you so much, Dan, for your time. I really appreciate it. And again, thanks everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks very much for inviting me on, Tracy. I've enjoyed it too.
Oh, it's been fabulous. Thank you. Right. So I always thank people by asking them to give forward, pay it forward. But I have a problem with my bank card today and I haven't had time. So I'm going to ask you to try. But if it doesn't work, I'm going to give you it again in an email. Right. So to thank you for your time, I'd like you to be able to give forward to somebody who needs financial independence. And you can choose any of those. But my balance that's in there needs topping up, and I don't know whether it'll let me go overdrawn or not. So if you can try, and if it doesn't, I'll email you it over once I can actually sort my card. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I obviously need 40 minutes to ring the bank. Just let me stop recording. Thank you for watching to the end. I really appreciate it, and it shows that you are serious about moving your business forward. I want to share something with you. When I was little, I watched my mum skip meals so my brother and I could eat because she didn't have enough money to feed us all. That pain changed everything. I promised myself I would never need to rely on anyone else financially. I worked relentlessly towards financial independence. Even as a young parent of 19, I still worked. And once I achieved financial independence, I became passionate that everyone deserves the same. But here's what I've discovered. Successful business owners can feel financially trapped just in a different way. And that's why I created the Money Metrics Academy to help you understand your essential business numbers in under an hour a week. No jargon, no overwhelm, just the clarity you need for true financial independence. Why not join the free entry-level membership and see how the community can help you? Let's get unstuck together.